Hi everyone. Today we will learn how to set up SQL Trigger for Azure Functions. Now how this setup works is Azure Functions make use of a feature called change tracking on SQL Server. So this is a database level feature that you must enable in your Azure SQL database. Only after enabling it, your SQL Trigger for Azure Function will work. Now let's see how to set this up. So first go to your Azure portal and go to your Azure SQL database. The database I am using for this video is YT demo. So I'll click on it, go to the query editor. Yes. And the table that I'm using for this video is to do table. So whenever a new row is added or updated or deleted in this particular table, I want my Azure function to trigger. Let's go to the SQL query and you need to run these two queries. So first let me uncomment this. Alter database, your database name, and set change tracking on. This is the first query that you need to run. This will enable change tracking on your database. It is telling me that my change tracking is already enabled. That's good. The second query that you need to run is after enabling it at the database level, you need to enable it at the table level also. So alter table, your schema, your table, enable change tracking. Run. Query executed successfully. With this setup complete, now we'll go to Azure Function part. I am recording this portion later. One very important thing for successful working of SQL Trigger is that your SQL table should always have primary key. In this scenario, we'll be using the table to do. So this table must have a primary key set. That's all. Now you can continue with the video. To set up the Azure function, let's open the VS Code. Go to your Azure extension and within your Azure extension, click on this bolt icon, create function. For these, let me just cover one thing. For these things to appear, you must have installed the Azure Function extension from the extensions panel. Okay. Now let's proceed with selecting a location, the YouTube videos, and let's create a new folder, SQL Trigger. This is where we'll set up our function. Python, the interpreter to create a virtual environment. This is the version installed on my system. Template. So this is where, let's see. Yeah, this is, you will see that SQL Trigger is not yet available as a template. Don't worry, I'll show how to set that up. So we'll skip this for now. And it is asking where to open the project. Open in current window. Wait for the setup to complete. Once the setup is complete, you will see these files created on your machine. Now, because we had to skip the template part, it did not give us the function file. So we'll have to go ahead and create it. Remember that the file name must be this function_app.py. Now we'll start writing the code. I have the code ready with me here. Let me copy paste it and give you a brief overview. So first we are doing the import statements. The important import here is this Azure.functions, which we are importing as func, and then we are declaring app object here using func.function app. This is where the main magic happens. Here we are declaring the SQL trigger and you must understand these three arguments. So first is arg_name to do. Whatever value you enter here, and you can enter anything, it should always match the argument name of your main function. Second, table_name. Here it should match with your table in the Azure SQL database on which you want to do the tracking. And third, connection string setting. The value of this should be entered in the local.settings.json. Let me first do that. Oh, I copied something wrong. Let me go back. Copy this SQL connection string. Come back here and exactly paste it. Make sure that this name matches this. And the value of this will be the connection string for your database, which I have here. This is my connection string. Obviously, I'm assuming you all know how to create a connection string. So let me do a wrap text. But just to be sure, this is your server name. This is your database name, your user ID, and password. That's how simple it is to create a connection string. With this, our setup work is now complete, and now let's start testing the function. To test the function, open the terminal, and you remember from the previous video, we will use Azure Function code tools to test it. The command for that is func start, press enter. It will take a few seconds. Once you see this host locally is acquired, it means your function has started running. Now let's go to our database and try inserting a row into it. Let's start. You remember my table structure? So this is a GUID column, this is an order column, this is a title column, right? So GUID column, new ID. In the order ID, let's say I enter 123, and in the title, let's say I enter 456. All right, and select this, run, go back, and immediately you will see SQL changes, operation 0, item, the ID that was created, order 123, title 456. This is what we just did. To show you again, let's say I do 678 and maybe 4, whatever, you can do whatever the table structure is here. Run, come back, and you will see that again it got those changes. What's happening here is it is getting the row changes in a JSON array along with the type of operation performed. Let me show you what I mean. So this is where all the magic happens. So first let's get this changed underscore rows equals to, let's store the value of this in here. This will give us the list of all the rows that changed, right? Perfect. And here, let's go. This is what this JSON is. This is an array. First it tell you what type of operation is performed. Operation 0 means insert. You can read about these operations in this link. I will drop this link in the chat. Here you can read about what this change tracking feature is all about. Coming back, operation 0 means insert, and this is the row that changed, right? So this is an array, and your use case is that you want this order ID. Let's try to get that. So order underscore ID that is inserted is, so changed underscore rows. Within the change underscore rows, you want the first item. In that first item, you want, this will give you the entire row, and here we want order. Let's print this also. This time when we insert the row, we should get the order ID of that. So let's go back here and try inserting order 100 and title, maybe just to keep it simple, 101, and run. Success. Go back to your function code tools. You can see here order 100, title 101, and the order ID 100 is also printed here. Now similar to the insert operation, you can also do the delete or update operations as well. So Let me show you an example of update. Update dbu.todo set order equals to, let's see our latest data, orders equals 3, where title is 1. Title equals 1. Let's run this update command. Oh, not setup, set. Run, success, come back. And here you can see, because we updated, this time we updated 2 rows. So you can very well see the operation ID is 1, which means update. So 0 is insert, 1 is update, 2 is delete for operation. And this time you have item number 1 which changed and item number 2 also which changed, right? So you get a array of changes. And if you want something to out of those, you can manipulate them here. I am only getting the order ID of first change here. If you want the list of all the changes or order ID of all the changes, you can run a loop over this changed rows. I hope that is pretty clear, and let's end by giving you a delete example. Delete from dbu.todo where order equals 3. Let's just delete these 2 rows. And in the delete, if I remember correctly, you will not get the order details, so this will give us error. Let me save this by commenting it out, come back and run this delete operation. Go back, and I was right. You do not get the order row details when you run the delete operation. You get only the ID details. So that is it. Got those details here. That is all for this video. All the code that I used, you will find it in the GitHub repo link in the description. If you want me to make videos on any other topic, please let me know. Thank you.